Welcome to Restaurant Review. I'm your host, Bob Bockelman. We appreciate you joining us here on Saturday afternoons, Channel 77. We're here every Saturday from 3 to 4. And as you know, if you've been watching us, we're in our second season. And what we do here is debut new restaurants and their chefs and owners for the local New Orleans community and around, and also young and upcoming, what we call emerging musical guests. As you know, we have a website, restrevue.com, RESTREVUE.com. So if you'd like to see any particular restaurant or hear another musician or ask any questions or come and visit us in the studio and watch a show taping, go through that website and send us an email. We'll be happy to entertain any question or comment you have. And of course, during the day, we'll flash up our phone numbers. Should you have any question you want to ask the chef or myself or about the musician, we'll be glad to entertain those during the show. Well, once again, we've got a brand new restaurant and a brand new chef and also a great new musical guest. That's our forte, is bringing him to you. And what we're going to do now is take our usual stroll back to the back of the studio and meet with our musical guest. So, Mr. Cameraman, you'll follow me. We'll head on back. All right. Welcome. We've got Miss Sarah Lucas visiting us today. Welcome to the show, Sarah. Good. Sarah is not a native. Where are you from, hailing from?
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, but you've been here how long?
3 months.
3 months. Great. Okay. And what brought you down to our city?
Music.
Good. Great. Do you have a particular style you would categorize your music or no?
Kind of country, kind of blues.
Country blues. Good. That's a good category. Okay. She's currently working on a CD, and so she'll let us know when she gets it, and we'll always bring it to you on that and let you know how you can reach her to buy it once it's available. But we also like to know whether or not you're going to have any local performances here in the city.
Yeah, I'm going to have one on Monday, March 31st at 10 o'clock at the Neutral Ground.
Monday, 3:31 at 10 p.m. at one of our favorite haunts, Philip Melancon's Neutral Ground. Okay, Sarah, well, let's go ahead and entertain the folks. What are you going to do for your first song?
It's called Kansas.
Kansas, take it away.
I swear this is Kansas. After all, quiet reminds me even trees here lonely, even with the sunlight falling across the field. Say nothing is all. I swear to I was a woman, should take you on. Say nothing, it's alright sometimes. Say nothing was too much for a boy like you. Baby said nothing, some fortune. true love. Sunrise come through empty Kansas diners. So part of me looking for a road back to 20, and a part of me looking far up the way. Most of me's right here, sitting by the window, saying treat me right, morning, all yours today. Say nothing, it's alright sometimes. Say nothing was too much for a boy like you. Maybe say nothing, something for true love. And sunrise come through empty Kansas diners. Say nothing, it's alright sometimes. Say nothing was too much for a boy like you. Baby, say nothing, something for true love. The sunrise come through empty Kansas diners.
Very, very nice. That's the plaintive sounds of Miss Sarah Lucas. Nice. Actually, she's right on it with a little bit of country and a little bit of blues. Very, very plaintive. So nice, mellow kind of sound. We were glad to have her in the studio today. And we'll be back and check with her and do a couple of more songs before the end of the day, so please stay tuned. As we mentioned, that we've got a brand new restaurant coming in. Now, this is really a reincarnation. As you know, not everything is what they say, old, whatever is old is new again. You know, many of our restaurants recycle from time to time. And this is one of the forerunner restaurants of Metairie. Metairie is our suburban Jefferson Parish to the Orleans Parish community. And in the old sleepy little hamlet, there's the mainstay road is called Metairie Road. And for a while there, back in the 80s, when we had trying to nickname little portions of the city, they named this particular restaurant road a Skinny City. And some people still refer to it. I don't think it's apropos at all, especially when you're dealing with restaurants. But it's an eclectic little combination of restaurants, and this being one of the foremost leaders. They have all types. You have your typical little burger joint, a Chinese place, but we also have two premier restaurants in that block, and one of the ones today we're going to do. This was originally opened by Chef Daniel Benoit. For those who know in our community, he had the Eiffel Tower and a couple other restaurants. And then it was subsequently turned into a Greek restaurant called the Odyssey Grill. That was most recently, but now it's just changed hands, and the name of the restaurant is a great name, Ambrosia, if you can see that on the cover of the menu. Ambrosia, which we know is the food of the gods. Again, maintains its Mediterranean flavor, also has some American dishes, and has a new twist, which also opened for breakfast on the weekends, which is great for this area because there's not a lot of breakfast places in the old Metairie area. So we're really pleased that this restaurant has come on. And in our studio today, we have two folks. One in our audience, we have the general manager, Mr. Barbaros Guns, and then, but more importantly, with us on set is the executive chef by the name of Mr. Jeffrey Jacobs. Jeffrey, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great, great. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I understand you are a native, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Great, great. Well, you know, that's we're always looking for our native chefs to do well. Can you tell us a little bit about your background in restaurants?
Oh yes, I did a lot of cooking at Mr. Cafe in Uptown.
Okay.
Did a little cooking at Tony Moran in the French Quarters.
Okay, great old line restaurant.
Yes.
Well, good. That's great. So you've got some background, but this is your first opportunity to actually be full head chef. Is that
Yes.
right? Great. We're looking forward to see some of your touches. About how large is the restaurant?
Well, the seating capacity is about 85 to 90 people.
Okay.
And
It's divided into 2 rooms, folks, and as you know, for those who've been with us, we're going to be flashing pictures behind us on the screen, first of the restaurant, and then when we actually get into the menu, some of the dishes that we are going to talk about today. But it is an eclectic little restaurant divided into 2 dining rooms. The first room, as you enter, hopefully we'll see a lot of use of primary colors, reds, yellow, blues, and greens. But some great little treatments on the wall with regard to copper lighting fixtures, some brick wallpaper, some columns painted unusual colors, but very, very comfortable, and some very Mediterranean murals on the wall. And in the second dining room, which also has the bar area, opens up onto the window seating. So we'll see some of this as we talk about it. But again, so it's got a little distinctive flavor on both sides of the restaurant. I think you'll find quite enjoyable. And hearing 89 to 90 seats, so that's more than comfortable to fit any size party. Okay, well, without further ado, then Jeffrey would like to go ahead. Now, we're going to save the breakfast items since they're only done on twice a week on the weekends. We do want to mention that they're open from 10 in the morning for lunch, 7 days a week, all the way through dinner. So it's a real ambitious time, staying open for the community to be there. Now on Sundays and Saturdays, I believe they're opening up even an hour earlier to accommodate the breakfast crowd. Now breakfast is only served for a few hours through part of the lunch, so it's not an all-day breakfast place. That's the key. You're really a fine dining restaurant, and so it's got some things. But it's got a lot of variety, and we want to jump into that. So when our director, we're going to go ahead and start with our appetizers now, Jeffrey, and hopefully our director will get our first one up. And we always like to do your signature dishes, and I think the one that is really called your Ambrosia Quartet. And like I say, let's talk a little bit about Ambrosia Quartet, and hopefully the pictures will catch. There we go. There's a beautiful thing on it. Tell us a little about what's included on Ambrosia Quartet, Jeffrey.
We have a
I see all the pita, beautiful pitas.
Yes.
Triangles. And what's in the center?
Okay, we have hummus.
Okay, the typical hummus that would be up at the top of the plate.
And
for those who don't know what that is, that's a very Mediterranean dish made from chickpeas, tahini, a little bit of garlic, some olive oil, and maybe some little spices.
The lemon juice.
A little lemon,
Yes.
right? Now, also on that, there's other 2 are very unusual. Let's talk about looks like a big old red meatball, but it's not. Look at the red one down toward the bottom of the plate. What is that one, Jeffrey?
It's a spicy tomato spread. It's called muhammara.
Very good, folks. It really has a real kick to it. Tomato based, but not heavily flavored tomato. It has more of the color of tomato than the taste of tomato.
And we have a little feta cheese sprinkled on the top.
A little feta on top, great just for color and flavor. And then over to the left of it is something I really enjoyed. Most of the time when I'm going to Mediterranean restaurants, the replacement or the substitute for hummus is called baba ganoush, which is an eggplant dish, same dish basically as hummus, but using eggplant. However, here we have an unusual treatment, more of a sweet relish, an eggplant relish. What do you call that particular thing there on the left side of the plate?
It's an eggplant dip.
Eggplant dip.
Yes.
But really got a real sweet taste, and like I say, almost like not a pickle relish, but really enjoyable. Great to smear on all those triangles of pita, and great to enjoy. Now, there's one other thing on the plate. I think there's a couple of them surrounding the plate, and they're rolled up in I guess, phyllo dough. What are those conical-shaped items?
We have a spinach roll.
Okay.
That's a triangular one.
Oh, the ones in the back?
Yeah.
Notice there's triangles that are pita, but the other ones are a little darker flavor, a darker color, are stuffed with spinach, right?
Spinach and mozzarella cheese.
And the round ones are mozzarella cheese, is that right?
No, the mozzarella cheese is in the spinach
Oh, and the
rolls.
spinach. Well, what was stuffed inside the? I know there's the cheese inside the conical ones.
Yeah, the round ones are the feta cheese rolls.
Feta cheese, melted
Yes.
feta cheese,
Yes.
very good. So, folks, you see, you really, you know, they say a quartet. You really got a lot more than 4 things going
Yes.
there because you got different dips and different arrangements. So that's a great way to start off with regard to you and your dining, especially if you're dining with a couple of friends. It would be a great way to sample Mediterranean food, and that's what we love to do. We like to get people interested in trying new things, and that way, instead of one person ordering one thing and be disappointed, this way they can, within that sampler plate, be able to try several different items and certainly come to love one, if not all. Okay, we're going to move on to a couple of the other appetizers, and the next one I know we're going to have is the, I think it's a combination of two. One is
Spinach artichoke dip.
the spinach artichoke dip. Now, we wanted to get, again, there are some other Mediterranean dishes, and we'll talk about those as well. We want to show that this also has an American flavor. So, again, for those who aren't totally ambitious or is a little bit unaware of the Mediterranean taste, we have an old-time favorite, spinach artichoke dip. If you notice on your plate, you'll see that in the scalloped elliptical-shaped dish, and then we'll talk about the other one in a moment. But tell us, what sets your spinach artichoke dip apart besides its beautiful color?
Yes, it's also homemade. And
Well, that's
everything.
good, of course.
It's homemade, and we have a lot of dill wheat in it also. It's pretty good.
A little dill in it?
Yeah, a little dill.
Ah, okay,
Sets
great,
it off.
great. Now, like I say, it was good, but you know, when I'm in a restaurant, an ethnic restaurant, I like to basically stick to the ethnic specialties because that's what we're here for, to educate the audience and to tempt them to try the different ethnic specialties. So, but we always like to show some of the American dishes. So for those someone in your party who just won't go or won't try something different, they'll feel comfortable enough that they're not going to be uncomfortable, or at least unhappy that they came with their other guests. Okay, in addition, on that same plate, if we'll look again, we have the other, and you call it a rice feast. And this is definitely an unusual dish that I thought really should be almost a side dish, even though it's even too much for one person.
Yes, it is.
So if we'll get it, Mr. Director, if you'll bring that picture back up, we'll see that in a very deep, scalloped, almost a souffle dish, you've got to tell us, there it is on the right side of the plate. Tell us about this rice feast. We tried to break it open so you could see, but again, the picture doesn't do justice to the actual dish itself, nor the flavor. Tell us exactly what's in a rice feast.
Okay, it's a fried basmati rice.
Basmati rice, which of course, for those who don't know about it, is some of the finest rice in the world. Beautiful rice.
And we have vermicelli pasta in it.
Okay, so
And,
it's a mixture of the pasta and the rice. Go ahead.
With some sauteed mushrooms. And it's baked with mozzarella cheese on top to a golden brown color.
Beautiful. So
It's pretty
it's
tasty.
a great casserole dish, but like I say, I don't see it as an appetizer. I think it's something that really should be divided and shared, but it's too big for a side, so I really don't know where to put it, folks. But I would hardly recommend you try it. If you like basmati, that long grain, very, very fine rice, mixed with the vermicelli noodles, extremely light, and then putting the mushroom and cheese, just really make a wonderful, wonderful combination of flavors. Okay, now they have a whole bunch more of appetizers, but as you know, we try and go through 2 or 3 in each of the categories, so that way we can make it through the show. By the way, if our director hadn't put up our telephone lines, if you care to give us a call, the numbers are 483-3336 and 483-3338, and we'll be glad to let you speak to Jeffrey and I and ask any questions about the restaurant, the menu, and I'll talk about our musician today, Sarah Lucas, or anything else you might have on your mind. But meanwhile, let's go ahead and move on, and we want to move into, next time we're going to do is actually a couple of the soups and a salad together. We'll put some of those together. Again, we have a very large menu, so we've had to double up and put some of the foods actually together on the menu, in the pictures, in order to accommodate what we try and do. But if our director will put up our next picture, there you go. You're going to see 2 of the soup specials and also a great, great salad, one of the many salads. They have about 9 different salads, so it's great for the ladies and for the people watching their weight. But soup is always, for those who know me, is one of my favorites, and one of the Mediterranean soups that I really adore is red lentil, and that's up on your left side of your plate, a beautiful plate of red lentil. Anything you want to tell us about your lentil soup?
The lentils, we have put a little orange sumac relish in it.
Sumac relish?
Yes.
Ah, okay, sumac.
It's
so
a
that's
different touch in it.
It's very unusual. Again, it's served with pitas, right?
Yeah, all the soups are served with pita.
All the soups have the pita triangle, so it's really great. As you can see surrounding the bowl. Now, he also does he does a minestrone daily, but he also does a soup du jour. And that particular day, what you're seeing on the screen is a wonderful portobello. Tell us about your portobello mushroom soup.
Yeah, I roast some portobellos off on the grill. And
you grill them on the grill. Well, that's important. Instead of just sauteing them. They're wonderful mushroom, but there's no way better to bring them out than put them on the grill.
Most of the soups, everybody thinks it's cream-based, but it's not cream-based. It's lightly creamed, but it's really rich.
Yeah, you're going to find that, which is really good because it's not, even though it looks like a heavy cream base, it's not going to taste like it at all. It's very rich, as he said, but very, very light in the cream content. So it's very deceptive, but something I would hardly recommend. And he does a different soup du jour. So, again, you always have your choice of your lentils, which is wonderful, your minestrone, which is a great combo. I didn't get a chance to try it, but then a different soup every day. So you're bound to find something in your pleasure, and there's nothing better than soup and or a salad. So let's go back to that picture. And as I mentioned, he has a tremendous amount, about 9 different salads. But what we wanted to do was his signature salad, and that's called the ambrosia. Can you believe that salad? Look at the color, the sparkle. Tell us about some of the things on a bed of greens, but let's tell us all the stuff that's on top of it.
Okay, we have a bed of greens. We have tomatoes, red onions, cheddar cheese, and corn.
There you go, folks. And was there anything else besides that?
Okay, we have the orange tarragon dressing. It's our signature house dressing.
No mushrooms or anything like that?
No, Kalamata olives also.
Kalamata olives. Yes. That's wonderful. So notice the vibrant color. Notice the chef said it's not just cheese there, folks. It's also great yellow kernel corn. So got an unusual touch there, and certainly a great, great idea. And again, the dressing was what?
There's an orange tarragon dressing, which I created myself.
It was excellent.
I think you will like it if you'll try it.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It really enhances that citrus flavor, really enhances the salad. So there's a very unusual salad for you folks. Your basic greens, but great cheeses along with corn and some Kalamata olives, which of course is a Mediterranean delight. And with Chef Jacob's special dressing, I think you'll like it. But again, you'll find traditional type salads, Caesar salads, house salads, and spinach. Even sensation salad, which years ago was one of my favorites, still is. It just fell out of favor. I mean, it was very prominent in the 80s, and we're glad to see it coming back on some of the menus because it truly is a great, great salad. And many times these salads can be decorated additionally with meat entrees, like chicken or something. So check with your waiter and or on the menu will give you those other options to really make it a heartier meal than just the salad itself. But they are truly large salads, so they're entree portions. But again, they do have a house salad, something smaller for you if you want to do it as a side salad.
And I like to add something else. The orange tarragon dressing is made with fresh squeezed orange juice also.
Fresh squeezed orange juice. Well, no wonder the taste is there. And there's nothing better than fresh squeezed orange juice. So that really brings out the flavor. So great deal, Chef. That sounds wonderful. Now let's go ahead. We want to move into our entrees. Now, let me tell you about the different categories, and again, we don't have time to picture even one from each of the categories because of the size of this menu. But first of all, they have traditional sandwiches. You know, Mr. Gyro roll, you wouldn't see a Mediterranean restaurant without that. All types of sandwiches, from your ordinary American to something more exotic. They do, and we did want to feature this, several burgers. As you know, lately, we've been talking more about the resurgence of burger to the fine dining restaurant. Back in the 70s and basically the 80s, burgers were relegated to the fast food. They were no longer looked on with any kind of appreciation. It was food that only the people ate in a quick thing in a car on the way to work or something like that. So. But what our chefs are doing locally as well as nationally is restoring the importance of a burger. Now that we see how bad some of our fast foods are for us in some of these restaurants, they're reintroducing the burger as a reputable source of meat and fine, delicious dining. We've had several other restaurants on doing all kinds of things from stuffing burgers to all kinds of different preparations. And we'd like to talk specifically about the unique burger called by the signature name of the Ambrosia Burger. Tell us, Chef Jacobs, what makes the Ambrosia Burger, besides its huge size, if you could look at that platter and see how it's spilling over the poor bread there.
Yeah, that's
but tell us a little bit about it.
That's
Besides
about,
the size, there's more to it than just size.
There's about 12 ounces of ground beef.
12 ounces, all right.
And
There you go.
we have fresh mushrooms.
Uh-huh.
No, excuse me, not mushrooms. Peppers, red peppers.
Right, I see the red peppers.
And jalapeno peppers and sauteed onions on it.
Yeah.
And it comes, and the meat is highly seasoned.
Right. We have to warn you, for this is not for the faint of heart. So you might want to tell if jalapenos are really too much for you, because they do smother them on here, you might want to tell them, hey, let's hold back on that or leave them off altogether, because it still makes a wonderful burger.
Yes.
If you don't want the real hot spice. But if our director bring it back up, let's take a little bit more. You notice one of my favorites is to use the Spanish or the red onion, and not thickly cut, very finely sliced, so it really adds the flavor without being overpowering. Whereas a traditional yellow white onion usually, to me, kills the taste of a burger because it's just overpowering. And then he has the regular garnish. But talking about a great, great sandwich, and of course those are your fries that you do, right?
Yes, we do steak fries.
Steak fries. So
and, these are seasoned up pretty well also. And
yeah, they have a little spice, but not as serious as the burger itself. So again, New Orleans is known for its heat, and we all know that. So if you want it, take it as it is on the menu. But if you want to back off a little bit, don't hesitate to either have them remove the jalapenos before, or you can, since they're all together and not actually, it's very easy to remove yourself if you want to just wait till they come to the table and try it. But I heartily recommend the ambrosia burger because, like I said, more and more we're trying to put out burgers as being a respectable thing into restaurants, and here's one that you got to try because I think it really is well worth the note. Okay, but now in addition to the burgers and the other sandwiches, we said we want to go ahead and talk about some of the entrees. Now the entrees are available both at lunch and dinner, and these are our favorites, of course, and they break them in by categories of chicken and veal. They have kebabs. Everyone knows that a Mediterranean restaurant has to have kebabs, whether it's shish kebab or some of the others, shawarma food. But one of the things unusual here are the pastas, the grilled seafood, and we're going to talk about, let's talk about a couple of dishes from the chicken and veal. I think, which one we have there? I think that's our cordon bleu, is that right?
Yes.
Tell us about that grilled chicken cordon. Look at that lovely color, folks, and that really golden highlights, and tell us about the chicken cordon bleu.
Well, we have a deep fried chicken breast, 8 to 10 ounces, with ham.
Now you deep fry the chicken breast?
Yes.
Okay, great. That's unusual.
We have ham on it, Swiss cheese.
Ham and Swiss. You got to have that with cordon bleu.
And we have the homemade hollandaise, which I make myself also.
Make your own hollandaise.
Yes. And
then look at the lovely fresh medley of vegetables. Well, I know you see zucchini, yellow squash. What else do you? And you grill those, or what do you do with those?
Steam them.
Steam them?
Steamed vegetables.
Okay.
Yes.
What other vegetables are included in that?
Okay. Sometimes we add some peppers, red peppers, green peppers, some onions also.
Red peppers, good. Very, very colorful, folks. So you can see it's a great, great taste and real colorful. Now let's move on to another one. Again, we want to show some of the American dishes as well. Again, so our customers out there will realize that it's not just Mediterranean, so they will not avoid the restaurant should they not be aware of Mediterranean or not really like a particular dish. So you can be comfortable here finding a lot of choices of American dishes as well as the Mediterranean. Let's go with another one of the favorite. They do both a chicken or an eggplant or a veal parmesan. I think we have a picture of your eggplant parmesan, if we can bring that up, Mr. Director. Tell us a little bit about your eggplant parmesan. Why is it so good there?
We battered and floured and Italian breadcrumbs.
Okay,
we have
battered and floured and what?
No, that's not it. That's the Anatolia.
Right. I think we have, we jumped ahead to one of the pasta dishes, but let's go ahead, Director, if you'll put it back up, we'll go ahead and talk about that one. Okay. This is actually one of the dishes called Anatoli pasta. If you notice it, so again, let's talk a little bit about that, please. Beautiful coloring. Tell us exactly what's Anatoli pasta.
Well, it's roasted lamb with our marinara sauce, which is our house specialty, the marinara.
So we're going ahead and mixing, again, the Italian pasta. And what type of pasta you serve?
It's served over a bow tie pasta.
Bow ties.
And they have a garlic yogurt sauce on the top.
Ah, okay. So let's go over that a little slower so that people will recognize. First of all, we're doing a bow tie pasta base, which is great. And then we're doing lamb. And what are you doing to the lamb, first of all?
Okay, we roast the lamb out first of all. Then we saute it with red onions and marinara sauce.
So we are roasting the lamb with red onions.
Yes.
We're making your own marinara sauce and anything else. Look, there's something else on top.
Garlic yogurt.
And then your yogurt sauce is over the pasta, or
yes.
is the cream sauce on
It's
the pasta?
It's a garlic yogurt on top of the pasta and lamb also.
Great, great combination, folks. So here's something, mixture of both worlds. We've got Italian, well, really three, a little bit of American too, but mainly Italian, your marinara, your pasta, along with your Mediterranean, your lamb, one of the staples of the meat community in the Mediterranean community, and making a yogurt, which is so important for them in a lot of their dressings and dipping sauces, but here making a yogurt cream sauce to go over the pasta. So that sounds great. Now let's see what next we got. We got a couple more entrees. I think we might have. Mr. Director, let's see what's your next picture. Let's see. Is that our eggplant parmesan?
Yes, it is.
There we go. Fine. I knew we'd get to it, folks. Again, now look at how we changed from that bright yellows and then the gold and the red to the magnificent colors of sunset here on this plate. Let's tell us a little about that eggplant parmesan, because that really is a beautiful sight.
Okay, on the eggplant parmesan, we bread it with flour and Italian breadcrumbs.
Okay.
Okay, we have a capellini marinara, which is angel hair pasta with red sauce.
Okay.
And we have the steamed vegetables also tossed in marinara sauce.
So once again, we're doing that medley of vegetables, but the difference here is you're also tossing them in the marinara.
Yes.
In the marinara sauce. So that same flavor that is on the pasta is now being infused into the vegetables. So what a great combination. Now, folks, like I say, we're barely touching some of the entrees. So maybe since we do have a little time now, maybe we'll touch a few more of the entrees and before we go back to our musician. Again, we're talking to Chef Jeffrey Jacobs, the executive chef of Ambrosia Restaurant in Old Metairie on Old Metairie Road in between Bonneville and Causeway. Open for lunch and dinner from as early as 10 in the morning, Monday through Sunday, and then staying straight open, and then also opening an hour earlier on Saturday and Sunday for the breakfast crowd. And we'll talk about some of the breakfast specialties after we come back and get through the entrees themselves. Let's see, Chef, what other entree, even though we might not have a picture, let's talk about one or two more entrees.
Can I add that our bread for the burgers are freshly made every morning?
Okay, well, when we get inside, that's fine. But go ahead, let's tell us about your bread. What type of breads do you serve besides your pita?
We have a focaccia bread that we make homemade.
Focaccia, and you use that in what
on the burgers and
your sandwiches?
Yeah, on the sandwiches. And for the pasta, we give garlic bread with the pastas also.
Garlic bread with the pasta. Okay,
yes.
Great. Okay. Any of the entrees that we want to talk about in addition to the ones we've just spoken about?
You might try the pasta meatballs. It's a good blend of marinara sauce with Parmesan cheese.
Okay.
And the tomato basil chicken is real good.
What is your ambrosia lasagna? How does that differ from
It's pretty unique. I have some flavors that I don't like to discuss.
Oh, well, you got to give us a little hint to it. What is making it unique without giving away?
I think we have a very excellent marinara sauce that I'd like people to try. And I would pretty much bet that we have the best marinara in the city right now.
Okay, so that's all you're going to get out of here.
Yes.
All right. Well, I was hoping to get a little more descriptive than that so we can get you all. Now let's talk a little bit about, again, we didn't talk about, because again, we're talking a lot about the American dish, but the kebabs. We glossed over that. Kebab, everybody knows in America what a shish kebab is. I mean, we all know those are the skewered with some type of meat and vegetables. In the old days, it was always fun to put it on the barbecue pit. But it really comes, the true kebab specialists are the Mediterraneans. And so they do, first of all, a beef kebab. We're using steak beef. They do a chicken kebab, a vegetable kebab, because we do have a lot of vegetarians, and they also do a shrimp kebab. But tell us what type of, and of course, hopefully you're grilling it. I didn't have any kebabs. Tell us what goes on the skewer besides the individual meat. What kind of vegetables, et cetera, and then tell us how you prepare them.
Okay, well, we have the meat on the skewers by itself, and we take the vegetables and grill them and put them around the plate. Okay, we put the vegetables around the plate, and we serve it with basmati rice and grilled onion.
Okay, so tell us, a little bit. In other words, like if we were having a shrimp, what would be the vegetables that would be on the skewer in addition to the shrimp?
No vegetables on the skewer, but it's grilled and placed around the plate. None on the skewer.
So you're just skewering just the meat or the,
just the meat,
shrimp
just-
seafood?
Yes.
Okay, I see. But then, so you're taking it off the skewer.
No, we leave it on the skewer, put it on the plate
okay.
over a bed of rice, and the vegetables go around the plate.
So the basmati rice is on
yes,
the plate?
the basmati rice is tossed with diced tomatoes and green onion.
Oh, okay. And then what else was coming? Some vegetables
Vegetables, again, squash and zucchini and red onion.
And some red onion.
Yeah,
Okay,
grilled onion
great.
also.
Great, excellent. So there you go, folks. Nothing better than having, but you do grill them, right?
Yes,
on the grill?
everything's grilled, yes.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of people talk about kebabs, but they actually saute them, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but there's nothing better than the grilled flavor for some of these things to really come out. So a true kebab should be grilled, as far as I'm concerned, and I think you have some excellent choices on here from this particular menu. Okay. Does anything else? Let's see if we can talk about. Maybe let's go over maybe one more of your sandwiches. What other sandwich besides the burgers? We really didn't talk about any sandwich except for your ambrosia burger. What other sandwich would you consider to be your real special sandwich?
Okay, we have a portobello mushroom sandwich also, and an eggplant sandwich for vegetarians.
Okay. All right, your portobello mushroom, again, what are you doing with that?
Okay, we're grilling the portobellos, and we're slicing them. We putting roasted red peppers, caramelized onion, mozzarella cheese. It comes with a roasted garlic aioli on the top.
Oh, that sounds great. The one I see here sounds really good and unusual is a shrimp pesto roll.
Yes, that's really good also.
We usually hear pesto a lot, but not necessarily used in combination with shrimp. So tell us a little bit in detail what you do on a shrimp pesto roll.
Okay, we have a wrap they call lavash. We take saute the shrimp off. We have pesto.
Okay, now you remember sometimes, Chef, you use terms that you and I might understand, or maybe you understand, but
yes.
the audience out there doesn't. So whenever we hit something that's not a common term, let's stop. So you said lavash. What is lavash?
Lavash is an unleavened bread, and it's like a flat roll.
Okay, made into a
It's
flat roll.
It's about 12 inches long.
Right.
So we wrap the shrimp up in it with pesto, feta cheese, and mixed greens, so the spring mix really.
So you
and
do,
we toast it in the oven.
That's all going inside the lavash?
Yes, and we toast it in the oven, and then serve with Mediterranean potatoes.
All right, now are the shrimp cooked before? Or
Yes,
no?
the shrimp are cooked before.
What do you do with the shrimp?
Okay, we saute the shrimp.
Saute the shrimp.
And then put the pesto in it.
Pesto with it? Okay. And then
they also have calamari olives in there also.
Calamari olives.
Yes.
All right, and then what else are you serving on the side, you said?
Mediterranean potatoes.
Well, now, what a Mediterranean potato? How do you distinguish a Mediterranean potato?
I'll season it up with some house season, which is special, and a little rosemary, a little black pepper.
All right. Excellent. Well, rosemary and black pepper, those are real good herbs to put on potatoes. Okay. I think let's see if there's anything else that would really be unusual that we want to talk about to our audience. I believe y'all also do special plates. Do y'all do that?
Yes.
Is that every day or once a week? Or
every day we have a different special.
Well, let's talk about that real quickly because it's almost time for us to throw back to our musician. But tell us every day, what kind of plate du jour do you do?
Okay, we have a fried calamari appetizer. We have a fried shrimp appetizer.
So you do a special appetizer?
And an entree special also. We have mahi-mahi with a lemon butter sauce.
Okay.
We have grilled redfish with lump shrimps on it with a spicy marinara sauce also.
All right, let's go over that a little again. So, again, these are just some sample ones you're doing, right?
Yes.
So what was that second one again? I'm sorry.
We have the grilled redfish, and we have jumbo lump shrimp, and we have a spicy red pepper sauce on it.
But that's one dish together?
That's one dish, yes.
Okay. And how about any of the others? So that's great. Right now we're going through Lent, so it's got a lot of fish dishes, which is really great. But how about any of the other, do you have any other meat or other dishes that you do for a plat du jour?
Not at the moment. We will in the future.
Okay, all right. But again, that is available every day,
every day,
plat du jour.
It's a different special every night.
Every day. Is that lunch and dinner or just dinner?
Lunch and dinner also.
Okay. All right, folks, so that's great. You heard that. So in addition to a very extensive menu from sandwiches to salads to soups, and a beautiful some menu plate items, they also have specialty items during the day. So what more can you want? We've got a tremendous variety going here, and we really think you need to give them a try. In Old Metairie, we're talking about Ambrosia Restaurant. We're featuring Chef Jeffrey Jacobs, a local in our community, who's taken over the head of the kitchen here, and he's anxious to serve you, as I mentioned, our general manager, Barbaros Grunz, who's also in the studio. Okay, now what we're going to do now, looking at the old clock on the wall, I think it's time for us to go ahead and listen to our lovely young lady who's in the studio. We might have mentioned to you, hopefully you caught the beginning, opening of the show. Her name is Sarah Lucas, still working on a CD, but will be appearing around town, specifically at the Neutral Ground on the 31st of March. And we'll let you know more about her in the future. But Sarah, why don't you tell us what are you going to do for your second song?
I'm going to sing a song called Always Up. This song and the song before it that I just sang are written by a friend of mine, Alicia Michaels, and myself.
Okay, thank you.
No, I'm trying.
Some people are meant to be together forever. It was written on their faces, the interlacing of their fingers as they walk out in the stars in the night. But you and me, honey, stars must have been singing, keep them far, far away, distant as forever and a day. Disappear to the east to rise and the west is mine. Just keep on driving. To tell you the truth, I never want to see your face again. Some people are the real deal, I'm for sure, capital L. But you and me, honey, I'd start to spell with capital B for bad time. You hear me? Capital B for bad time. So keep them far, far away, distant as forever and a day. Disappear to the east to rise and the west is mine. Just keep on driving. To tell you the truth, I never want to see your face again. Don't worry about me or the mud in the Mississippi sunk deep. Our love will be just fine. Yes, indeed. Hope you have yourself a good time. I'm gonna have myself a good time. Bet your good time's not as good as mine. So keep yourself far, far away, distant as forever and a day. Disappear to the east to rise and the west is mine. Just keep on driving. To tell you the truth, I never want to see your face again. Keep yourself far, far away, distant as forever and a day. So disappear to the east to rise and the west is mine. Just keep on driving. To tell you the truth, I never want to see your face again.
Very, very nice. That was Miss Sarah Lucas again. She mentions that she's doing a little blend of country and blues. She picked up the tempo a little bit on that one, so it shows a little variety, not just that slow plan of a blues song. But again, still that same quality. She's got that blues in her, so we hoping she'll do well for us. She'll be back one more time at the end of the show to close it out, and we'll talk to her then. Meanwhile, we want to go ahead and finish up with our chef and talking about our new restaurant and menu, and that way give you some other pieces of information before we close the show. Again, we're talking about Ambrosia Restaurant, a relatively new restaurant. It's only a few months old on Old Metairie in a former restaurant site in between Bonneville and Causeway. Very convenient for the people in that parish, or even in Orleans. It's very, very close. It's just a matter of a few miles. The restaurant is open for lunch and dinner all the way 7 days a week, all the way through, and adds breakfast, which we're just going to touch on breakfast before we close the show today. Okay. But we are speaking with Chef Jeffrey Jacobs, who's taken over the helm of the kitchen. And we want to go ahead and we'll get our director to put up our last picture of a couple of desserts. They have about 5 or 6, but one of them, of course, we want to always feature the Mediterranean flavor. So one of them, which is standard, and this will be on the right side of your screen at the left, is the baklava. The baklava is a flaky phyllo dough. Tell us about that. Now, really, I'll tell you the difference is if he doesn't tell you about it. Yes. Notice how pretty the presentation is. But tell us about your baklava, please.
Okay, the baklava is homemade. It's a phyllo dough, walnuts, and some other spices.
All right.
And it's with a nice syrup on it.
Yeah, it's almost like a honey. It's very sweet, very, but not overly sweet. But a great sized portions. Usually baklava is done in like triangles, just little square portions with a little bit. Is that whipped cream?
Yes, it was.
Really, but it wasn't a heavy cream, so it was nice and light. A little bit of sweetness from the syrup, and it was that coconut. I forgot what you said was shaved on top of it.
Walnuts.
Walnuts, very nice. So there you go. It's an unusual treatment. It's not just the baklava that's usually just served a piece of baklava. So it's in a beautiful presentation and a couple of other ingredients to really make it worthwhile. Now, if we go back to that picture, if we look on the left side, we're jumping from still in the Mediterranean, but focusing on a lot of the dishes here, the Italian. We have one called, well, we don't call it La, but Dolce Vita. We all remember that old famous movie that was so popular here from Italy. Tell us what's in that great-looking Dolce Vita.
Well, it's a caramel coating, and they have a cookie shell underneath.
Okay.
And we can disclose the inside of it.
All right. There's ice cream. We know there's ice
Yes.
cream inside, but it is one of those caramel coatings that forms that ice-cold caramel, and it's on a cookie base,
Yes.
ice cream in the center, and then decorated with lovely something looks like some hot fudge or some chocolate. Sauce
Yes.
to really make it good. Now, in addition, they have some old standbys like cheesecake, peanut butter pie, a local New Orleans favorite, tiramisu, another Italian, different sorts of ice cream, and one called Ambrosia Feast. Now, we didn't get a chance to get a picture, nor did we have the room to try Ambrosia Feast after all the food we've shown today. But tell us, again, what is your signature dessert? What is an Ambrosia Feast?
It's your choice of different kind of ice creams. They have a lot of fruits at the bottom with different kind of nuts.
All right.
So
it's ice cream, fruit, and nuts?
And yeah, syrup and some honey.
Okay,
Yeah,
sounds good. So again, I remember in the old days, some people call ambrosia a dish where they took a lot of fruit and did some type of dressing on it with walnuts or something like a walnut salad or Waldorf salad. But sometimes they put mayonnaise in it. But again, the idea of fruit being a basis of any ambrosia is important. I think here's certainly what would be a great treat to have it ended with fresh fruit and some kind of syrup or specifically honey, so it'd be very light. Okay, now we need to talk a little bit about beverages before we touch on breakfasts. Right now, the liquor license has not been available, but again, it's coming very shortly. So I understand you're going to have a full line of wine and beers as well. Is that correct? But in the interim, the general manager has graciously allowed patrons at the dining for supper to bring in their own choice of vin, their own wine that they like. They'll be glad to uncork it with no fee. So until that license comes up, which is momentarily, get in that opportunity of bringing your own bottle of your favorite wine to dinner to really treat yourself and your guests. And chef and general manager will be delighted to serve you without any extra charge. But there's an unusual combination. A lot of course, traditional. They have teas, hot teas, and milkshakes, which I think is great for the kids as well as for someone like me. I love shakes like that. So fruit shake and milkshake, coffee, a lot of different coffee variations, so you'll like that as well. Now let's, Chef, if you don't mind, let's touch a little bit on breakfast items before the end of the day. And we mentioned breakfast is only available on Saturday and Sunday mornings. We started at 9, and you run it to about how long?
On Saturday it's to 3 o'clock, and Sunday it's to 4.
Great.
Yes.
So for us late awakers who like to go to late breakfast, which many people are moving into the lunch period or calling it brunch, but still want a breakfast item, you have that opportunity. Now he's got all the standards, folks, so we're just going to highlight some of those for you so you'll know. He's got both pancakes and waffles. Now pancakes, do you do a typical buttermilk or what type of pancakes?
Yes, buttermilk pancakes.
Buttermilk, okay. Do you have any, do you serve with fruit on any of these things on the side? Or,
no, not at the moment. We still requesting stuff like
Okay.
that.
You do cinnamon rolls. Is that something you do in-house?
Yeah, we do the cinnamon rolls in-house every morning.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's great. Now he has an ambrosia breakfast, which is basically a combination because he's doing eggs, all the normal things. He's doing some omelet with cheese, even doing a bagel if you want something like continental, or French toast, one of my personal favorites. How are you doing your French toast? Anything different about it?
No cinnamon, vanilla, nutmeg, little flavors.
Okay. He's doing grits, and grits, my favorite again, grits with cheese. So that's something we all love. He's got hash brown potatoes, another old line staple. Toast, and then of course all the combinations of eggs you can do with you. Sides of bacon or sausage, ham, the whole gamut. So really your breakfast is geared toward the American, a little bit on the continental side, but for the most part it's geared to the hungry man breakfast that we all know here in America.
And
so
it's a lot of food.
a lot of food. So therefore, it'd be a great opportunity for you to, on Saturday mornings, if you get up early, or even just think, if you want to have a late night Saturday night or Friday night, going on over to Ambrosia and get your full American breakfast. So, and you can just wait, come back later on in the evening, try dinner. Okay, is there any other items, like is there any specials going on at the restaurant? Are y'all doing any kind of wine dinners you anticipate, or any kind of other special events you want to talk about your restaurant?
Maybe in the near future we're going to try to do like a steak night with ribeyes, baked potato, and maybe a pitcher beer for a set price.
Okay,
And
great.
We're still coming up with different ideas right now.
Well, good. As again, this is a very young restaurant. How long have you been open again? I said a couple of months.
Maybe a month and a half.
Even quicker. As you know, that's our specialty. We want to bring these restaurants to you folks before anybody's even written them up, even though we found out that fortunately, very coincidentally for the restaurant, one of our local papers has done an article on them, and I encourage you, that's our gambit. So for those who get a copy of it, get a copy. I haven't had a chance to read it myself. Be happy to read it, though, and see what the author has written about it. Hopefully all good things. But there's nothing like seeing. Reading is one thing, but seeing is believing. And who better here than directly from the chef's mouth? And that's why we always try and bring you the chefs of the restaurants, let you take a little look at the ambiance of the restaurant as well as some of the food to hopefully sell you on the idea of trying. You know, that's our whole deal. One of our two main cultures we say are the rhythms and the restaurants are the food of Louisiana, specifically New Orleans. So we want to be there always on the forefront. Now, before we go back to close out the show, we do want to tell you about one new venture. As you know, we try and give both our restaurants and our musicians every opportunity to profit here, because you know it is the mainstay of our community. We have wonderful artisans, as just we heard today. Sarah has come from out of town to come and make her living here because she knows the music is so vibrant. And we have a lot of rich history of music as well as restaurant food, and we need to really captivate it. So some friends of mine have taken over about 3 years ago, we might have mentioned this, the Fine Arts Theater. You know, we have a lot, not a lot, it's coming down to just a few left that are still standing. Old-time independent movie theaters with magnificent old structures, beautiful facades, and some of these have been restored back to their elegance, some of the ones downtown in our community, but a lot of the others have gone by the by, either turned into another business or actually torn down. They actually took this particular place and restored it almost to its original value, and they made it into a wonderful event place that they feature a great local musician on Friday night in the main hall, and that's called James Rivers. He's there on Friday nights, so great place. This event also is used for things like wedding receptions, any type of special event. I'm giving them some extra plugs because they're lucky right now. The movie industry is coming back to New Orleans, which of course we're very, very happy about. And they're getting some venue in that one of the next movies being filmed right now about the life of Ray Charles is actually going to be, some of it's going to be filmed in this particular venue. So when that comes out, you'll get to view it. Also, Clint Eastwood is a big follower of James Rivers, and he's doing a documentary on James Rivers. So they're really getting their forefront, and it's going to really broadcast them throughout the nation. But also, they're very good friends of mine, and they had some, again, this was a cavernous building. They weren't using all of it. So what I asked them to do was, is there a way that we could develop a small venue for our musicians? for emerging musicians, not just like they have their lead stay. And they decided to do it. And it's almost ready, folks. We're hoping to open it for April 5th. And it's, again, the name of the place is the Fine Arts Theater. We've got several new names for the club, so I don't know which one we'll finalize. But it is on the corner of Barone and Constantinople, and there'll be a Barone entrance. This will be a small, intimate club, maybe 30, 40 people. The good thing about it, the low door admission will go directly to the artists so that these young emerging artists will get some revenue, which we need. Let them patronize their CDs and merchandise that. Plus, it will be a wonderful drink venue and some excellent food. Be open on Friday and Saturday nights. We'll tell you more about it, but again, it's a great new opportunity for our musicians, and we're thrilled about it. We're getting to the end of the show, so we need to hear our lovely musical talent. So, Miss Sarah Lucas, will you tell us what you're going to take us out with, please?
It's a song called Picture, and it was written by myself. When I walk down that road alone, I can tell you something I never known. With you, couldn't see the trees for leaves. But darling, darling, I still wear you on my sleeve. So a little boy told me how to make a little girl cry when the great crowds roll through their blue Ohio sky. But fall don't change nothing, and nothing changes fall. In and out and in and out of love with me. Well, an iris makes a picture, but that picture speaks its own words. And the light from the camera makes a moment come to terms. So cut me up an apple and smoke me one or two, 'cause that distance you've been claiming about to rip me right